Welcome to this week's episode of the Valley of Outlaws podcast. Today I'm joined by Milo Pinckney, the founder of Rollr, a luxury deodorant brand redefining how we think about a simple everyday task. In this episode we discuss the journey and the path he's taken to bring this product to market, and the struggles over the last 4 years of doing so. This is a real eye-opener for any aspiring entrepreneurs and anybody who wants to understand the truth of the journey of a solopreneur. It's filled with loneliness, determination, no's, yeses, and eventually successes. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy this episode with Outlaw number 40, Milo Pinckney. Okay, Milo, you're Outlaw number 40. Welcome to the Valley of Outlaws podcast. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
In every episode, I like to give the guest their own opportunity to introduce themselves to the audience. So in your own words, who are you, what do you do, and why do you do what you do?
I think I'd like to be an outlaw more than anything else now. That sounds great. So I'm Milo. I'm the founder of Rollr. Rollr is trying to change the way that we think about everyday products by leading with an experience that looks, feels, and smells amazing. And then you feel good about that experience because of the impact on our bodies and planet, but we don't lead with the impact. And we hope that by offering people delight when they least expect it, they'll want to switch to the product, and the impact will be part of the enjoyment rather than the main purchase driver.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. And I always love to, when we go into this, understand kind of who you were, kind of school and that kind of thing, and were you always kind of going to be an entrepreneur? So when you were at school, was it always a vision to get into the cosmetic space? Was it a vision to always be an entrepreneur, or did you have different ideas and different plans for what your future was to hold?
So I never thought I would do deodorant. I don't think I'd have many friends if I always knew that I wanted to do deodorant from a young age, to be honest. I always wanted to start my own business.
Okay.
The idea of working for someone else to do something for them has always not really made that much sense in my mind, because I've always wanted to create something. So I've started multiple businesses. The first one was selling sweets on the school bus when I was like 11. It's pretty classic, I guess.
Yeah.
And I remember being told to go in to see the headmistress, and I thought I was going to get a bollocking. And she didn't at all. She was like, "Look, Milo, I'm kind of impressed, but you can't do that here. Do it at your next school." So I was like, "Oh, okay, that's quite chilled." I've probably started 4 or 5 businesses. Okay. Some of them have just been hobbies. Probably the most fun before Rollr was a radio show that I started when I was at university in Dublin.
Nice.
I applied to be on the Trinity College, Trinity FM.
Yeah.
They said no.
Yeah.
And I was so annoyed that I decided to start my own radio show.
Nice.
And by the end, we had more listeners than them.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
In a year, which I was quite proud about.
Yeah, good.
So, maybe being told not to do things makes me want to do them more. And being told to do a certain thing by someone in a job made me want to do my own thing.
Interesting.
And explore and see what the limits would be.
And what about parents as well? Did they tell you not to be an entrepreneur and go and work for someone and have the safety and security of a job?
Well, kind of. Yeah. I mean, my mum started her own business. She was an interior designer, so she's got an incredible eye. And my dad has been working in very boring finance stuff his whole life. So they're kind of the opposite in that sense. And I remember in lockdown when I said I was going to start Rollr, it was a long time ago now, it's like 5 years. They were like, "Right, Milo, time to get a job. You finish uni, you traveled for a year, time to get a job."
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, this is going to be my job. This is going to be it." And they both kind of sat me down and were like, "Look, it's a nice idea, but it's not going to pay the bills, is it? Be serious."
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a moment where I stood up to them and I was like, "I am being serious. I'm going to do this."
Yeah.
And I was half convincing them and half convincing myself, because once we'd had that big discussion, I couldn't really back down, but I didn't want to. So,
Fair enough. And when you were at school, what kind of were like your passions and everything? How did you spend your time? What really got you kind of motivated and inspired?
I've always enjoyed chemistry.
Okay.
Weirdly, I had quite a lot of involvement in the creation of our formulation. And that's because a lot of it's been trial and error because no one's done it before. So a basic understanding of chemistry definitely helped. And I think I had a great chemistry teacher and he was really cool. I remember we went through all the chemistry behind Breaking Bad, how to actually make meth,
Really?
and like what from the show was realistic and what was unrealistic. And I think that was just quite fun, you know, like understanding how to make things by putting two things together.
Yeah.
So but also I wouldn't say I was probably the easiest student. I didn't like being told what to do by people I didn't respect.
Interesting.
You know, if someone says do something and the reason why is because I told you to,
It's not a good enough reason.
for me, that's not really a good enough reason. Yeah. And I felt at school that they would push us to be different and like be different and do your own thing and think differently. And then as soon as you try to, they're like, no, but not like that. And it's like, well, what the fuck do you want from me? So yeah, some of my teachers really liked me, some of them didn't.
And going to university as well, so you went to Ireland, what did you kind of study? What was kind of the thought process when choosing your subjects or your course for future and its kind of beneficial, I guess, nature for what your career would be?
Well, I started with something called business, economics, and social studies, which means you try loads of stuff, including law, sociology, economics, all that kind of thing. And in the end, I ended up doing business and sociology, specifically marketing and social innovation. And it's actually quite an interesting degree because business is generally really boring, but quite helpful in that it's applicable and like it's good for your CV or whatever. Sociology is generally really interesting, but like kind of useless by itself. You know, you're looking at patterns in the past. It's almost impossible to predict the future. But social innovation was trying to instigate positive change. And I think the combo of marketing, which is mostly selling people crap that they don't need, mixed with social innovation, which is like, how do you try to instigate change, is kind of was the ignition point for Rollr. Because Rollr is basically, how do we save 90% on packaging? You know, 90% of anything we clean our body with, shower gel, deodorant, or our cars or our houses, whatever, unless it's a bar of soap, is water. And it gets shipped around I was about to say the universe. It gets shipped around the world needlessly because formulators are lazy and because it's a bigger advert when you go into a shop to have a bigger packaging. So, you know, the idea of taking water out, we're lucky enough that we have water at home. So why wouldn't we just add it at home? But people don't really buy things for sustainability reasons. They might say that they do, but they don't. And so the innovation was, you know, the innovation of the product. Like, how can we try and create widespread change in impact of the packaging and the weight associated with this water? But then the marketing is, how do you sell that in a way that people actually want it? And where we landed was, we sell it in a way that people want it regardless of the sustainability. And we hope that therefore the ceiling is much, much higher because people like nice things and that's okay. So let's give them what they want and some impact as a kind of side dish that they can eat as well.
Yeah, no, I get that. And with that part of university, then it clearly impacted a lot of your thinking as well towards this, like without you probably realizing it was one of those kind of things which was an interest which kind of led on just through your life and to this point. So, as you know, you applied it in this way, but I imagine also in everyday lifestyle and everything, it's something which for you has meaning, and you look at products, you look at the kind of commercial world in the same way and actually judge maybe or or analyze, maybe not judge.
Yeah, well, I'm very analytical now because I understand it a lot more. You always think you understand until you know, the more you know something, the more you realize you don't know. And that's definitely been the case with everything I've learned, really. But I think it's interesting to look at products and see what they're really trying to sell. You know, for us, our deodorant is £45. It's expensive. On the surface, that might be like, why would anyone spend 45 quid on a deodorant? You know, that's just stupid. It's unnecessary. And it's like, that is more expensive than people expect, but we're not really selling deodorant. What we're selling is the idea that you can have an elevated experience every day of your life and be more sustainable. And the value that comes with that is greater than just the crap that you would buy for 3 quid in the supermarket. So some products have a purpose, some don't. And sometimes they're harder to see, I guess. So trying to analyze all of those three at once is something that I've become more obsessed with.
No, of course. And what do you think was your biggest, I guess, takeaway from university, also being in another country and studying it, which kind of helped you also to become ready to be a founder and an entrepreneur?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think meeting new people outside of your like bubble. You know, like I knew one person who was going to uni, and I only knew him until I was 13 years old. All my other friends went to the same unis; they all knew each other, but I didn't know anyone, and that was intentional. Like I just wanted to go and just like meet all these fantastic new people, and I think, like I said earlier, you know, deodorant is not something I ever really dreamed of doing, and so you know, being happy to just be like, okay, like I need to learn about all this new stuff. I need to go and meet all these new people and just, you know, be really interested in something that's like I would never have imagined is usually within reach of anything that I'm a part of or have like been brought up in, really. I think that skill probably something that I've learned a lot, but it's also really interesting, you know, in the same way that the more you learn, the more you have to learn. It's exciting to know all the nuances and the depths, and everything is more complicated than you think it is. Yes, you know, so understanding how that's the case, and how to try and use that to create something meaningful is really cool.
And for me on this podcast, what I really love to kind of get into and understand is obviously like the mindset. What were the kind of triggers and the points for you to really try and push to start this? So before Rollr really existed, what was kind of your position? What were you doing, and how were you kind of getting to the point where you were coming up with an idea for this company? And what was it that gave you that kind of like excitement to get going and be like, I really want to explore this and see what can happen?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, so I traveled after uni for a year, and I ended up in New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
Have you been to New Zealand?
I haven't been there yet. There's some golf courses I've got to go and play out there.
Yeah. I didn't see the golf courses, but I can imagine that they are crazy. Yeah. It's such a beautiful. I mean, I still wear this jade necklace from 5 years ago. You're wearing one too.
I got my dad bought me one for my 21st. I've had them for years. Like,
you've had it for longer than I have then. Yeah,
I love them.
There we go.
A tiki or something like that. Or I don't know.
Punami.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I'm probably saying it wrong.
Yeah.
But I was there for a month. I felt so calm, you know, and what really struck me is not just that the people, it's not just that you know, it's got beaches and volcanoes and glaciers and jungles and like waterfalls and every beautiful thing that occurs in nature. It's got it, and all the animals and everything. But the people really respect each other and the environment. And I kind of had this, there's a Maori saying, which is, I am the river and the river is me. And I still say that when I meditate. Like it means a lot to me, and I do believe it in loads of ways. But part of what that relates to, I think, is that a lot of natural problems have natural solutions, but we overlook them. You know, like we're so distracted. There's so much noise. We're in like huge tower blocks. We've got iPhone 25s, and none of those are necessarily bad, but we overprescribe. You know, something bad happens, we take a pill. It's like there's so many things that block us from like sometimes a simple solution that's right in front of us, but we just don't see it because it's almost too simple. And so that's kind of where the idea of Rollr was born, is that, you know, we all use we all use deodorant every day. That's 22,000 times in our lives.
Wow.
Give and take, minus the beginning where we don't, at the end where we don't.
Yeah.
So 22,000 times in our life. It's such a crazy number. And until recently, it's all chemicals in unrecyclable plastic. So you're putting terrible things on your body every single day for your whole life. And then you're using either pressurized canisters, which can't be recycled because they're pressurized, or you're using like roll-on bottles. But because it's different types of plastic and you have to clean it, and it's really thick plastic, it's almost impossible to recycle. So why are we using this product which is terrible for our bodies and the planet every single morning? And why does no one care? And the answer is, well, no one cares because it's really generally cheap and crap and boring. Like the value perception is super low. So you don't even think about it. It's just like a chore. That's why it's £2. And that's why I want to make it beautiful. Like we're trying to do the opposite of what you expect to make it something that people really care about. And then the real impact is the 90% thing. You know, 90% of roll-on deodorant is water. It's the biggest amount of It's the biggest type of deodorant that people want to use that's refillable. So why would you ship that water around the world? Just add it at home.
How did you find this space? So you go to come back from New Zealand. Like,
Yeah.
what was it that just triggered to get into deodorant? What was it? What was that first starting point? What were you looking for?
Well,
Like, did you have a shitty deodorant? Like, I'm fed up with this. I'll make my own one, or
yeah, kind of. Well, I just started using. It was like the remnants of A-level chemistry knowledge
okay.
in my kitchen.
And you're just trying to find a healthy version for yourself.
Yeah, I just started looking up ingredients. Like, God, dude, AI would have saved me like 2 years now, honestly, because it was like going on Amazon, looking at the top-rated natural deodorants, seeing which ingredients they had in common, checking if they came as a powder, and then ordering them online, testing them. Did they work? Most of the time, it was no. Then it's like, okay, cool. Then try the next thing. So it's a huge iterative process. But I'm still proud that to this day, the product that we raised with our kind of MVP for our first round is more innovative than most of our competitors. It was like a pinky finger sized crystal. You just dropped in and you added water, and that dissolved to have like a few active ingredients and scent and stuff in it. And then I just had a bottle that I bought off the internet with a bamboo case with our logo lasered on it.
Okay.
So it was just a lot of like, I'm just gonna have a crack at it, basically, and just keep trying until I got to something that was kind of okay.
Yeah, I just find it interesting because obviously I was just telling you about the drink stuff, and I was doing that for my own benefit and what I would want in that situation. And I think whenever you're following something which you find interesting, you might be passionate about, it pushes you to work harder on it, longer hours, further, dig deeper than you would doing something else. Like, and it's one of those things where a lot of young entrepreneurs go, well, I want to be an entrepreneur because I want to be an entrepreneur, not because they have an idea for like a product or a solution. And if you can find that product and solution and you have the energy and passion behind it, it makes you go a lot further. 10 times further.
Totally. I mean, that's what I said already, like twice, like deodorant wasn't my passion. Like, it's still not really my passion. It's trying to create something which is better for people and the environment and that people enjoy more. It's just about giving people a better experience, which nowadays includes all of the impact.
Yeah, fair. And so when you've got this first product and everything, like, how are you approaching? So for any founders out there, I'm going to say for myself as well, like, how are you approaching trying to get some funding to actually develop it? How are you approaching getting to branding agencies and product designers? What was your mindset? What was your process?
Well, that's a really tricky one. So our first round was raised at the height of COVID madness.
Okay.
So everyone was at home. Everyone had subscriptions.
Yeah.
Everyone was so bored. They just subscribed to everything.
Yeah.
And so all the e-com businesses had tech valuations like 10x revenue, which is just like crazy. So the first round was like relatively easy.
So what were you trying to raise in the first round?
200.
Okay.
We didn't end up raising 200. I had the option of 200, and then there's an amazing creative agency called Mother.
Okay.
Who I think have won like best creative agency in the world like a load of times. They did Uber Eats' latest campaign with Robert De Niro. They work with like Samsung and Meta, and like they're crazy talented. And at the time, they had just redone a bit of The Body Shop, rest in peace. And I literally just called them. I think I literally called them and just said, hey, I'm raising money. Can I give you some cash and some equity to do branding for my business? And they said no. But it was like a hard no. But we have a part of our business which basically does exactly that. Would you like to be put in touch? And that became my now partners, those guys, Broody.
Okay.
So they took a big chunk of the business early doors, come on, effectively as co-founders, and give access to Mother, who created our brand. Normally to work with those guys, you need
hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, like a lot.
Yeah.
But it's because they are like some of the best in the world. So I'm incredibly like proud and grateful to be able to work with them. And they gave me a bit of cash. And then the second round was so much harder because all the big bubble from COVID burst, and all of the investors either lost all their money or doubled down and then lost all their money. So that was a lot harder.
Oh, really? How come? In what sense?
Well, everyone was like, oh yeah, well, subscriptions it's like SaaS. So 10x valuations, we'll put in $1 million and it'll double again next year. And COVID stopped, everyone unsubscribed. No one grew as much. Some of them did down rounds. All the investors lost all their money, or they doubled down and doubled their initial investment. And didn't have any more money to invest elsewhere. So when we were raising our second round,
it's a harder market to
Yeah, I was
gone
completely, and we were a pre-revenue
Mm.
business, and it's like a super weird business.
Are you?
You
sorry,
know,
are
like
you,
a refillable roll-on deodorant at the
Yeah.
time is like crazy. Like, why would anyone care about that?
are you doing a second round before you've sold anything then? Or you're doing first round pre-revenue and then second round is like you've got a product like this? What's the kind of staging?
So our round opened before we launched,
Yeah.
and closed afterwards.
Yeah.
And it started, when we started, this actually made me feel so much better.
Mm.
It was a guy who owns a big chain that does $1 billion in revenue globally, $1 billion. And he's been in investment for 25 years. And he said that it was the most dire investment landscape he'd seen in his entire career, and that he couldn't even, because of all kinds of factors, his $1 billion revenue business hadn't made as much that year. And he was trying to find people to invest just to give a little bump. And he said he couldn't do it. And that was his job. Like that, he was an investor. He knew everybody.
Wow.
And that really did make me feel better.
Yeah.
Because I was like, God, if he can't do it, then okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So the only advice I would say is, I can't remember who it is that told me this, and maybe that's for the best, but it was someone really, really awesome and serially successful. Basically said, if you are determined enough as a businessman, you will make it.
Yeah.
Like, you will iterate, or you will find the right person, or you'll get the money. And for us, it was, it was really hard. Like, it was personally the most difficult time in my life to like get through trying to raise money when everyone was just saying no. Like, we must have had thousands of no's. But then to actually close around and now get to where we are now, which is like slightly proven the point on the right track, is really nice.
And you said Broody is the
Broody, yeah.
there. So what kind of like relationship with them? So they're like the co-founders, like 50-50 split share, or what's your kind of setup with that?
No, so they took less than 50.
Okay.
But like roughly a third.
Okay. And they just support you whenever you need it, or is it just they give you the cash injection and push you forward? What's the kind of working relationship? So like for people, because I spoke to an entrepreneur before who is another ex-Radley guy, started Genie Drinks, and when he started that, he said, I could have given away more equity to get more money and it would have helped us a lot more. Now, then I've also spoken to other people who say, don't give away too much equity early on because you're going to need it for later on as well when you go VCs and they come in to back you, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Like, what's your position with this now, where you've obviously given away a third of the business? You probably still have 2/3 to yourself, or a bit less, maybe if other people have invested in it.
Yeah.
So what's your position now then as like an early founder? Obviously they've opened a door.
Yeah.
But how do you position now? How do you feel now in that kind of sense? Like,
I mean, it's such a tricky one to answer. The reason why I partnered with Broody and didn't take the cash, even though basically I gave away twice as much as I would have if I'd taken the cash, is because I thought I would rather have a bit of something than a lot of nothing.
Yeah.
And like, everyone thinks they can be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. You need doors opened.
But it's really hard. And everyone says it's harder than you think, but it's harder than you think, which is what everyone says anyway, but it's true.
Yeah.
So I think, trying not to be too naive, I thought to myself, look, I'd rather go with them, give us a greater chance of success to like live in the world than be too greedy. And that was the right decision for us, for me. Like, I wouldn't be where I was if it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
In terms of when to give it away, it's funny, there's investors talk about dead equity.
Yeah.
So, and this is not applicable to my partners because like they're still very active, but in general, like if you, let's say a branding agency comes to you on day one, they go, we'll do your branding for 20%, but then that's it, we're done, we're silent. Some investors would go, oh, well, that's dead equity.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I actually bumped into the CEO of Steed Legals.
Yeah, okay.
Anthony something, in New York in an airport the other day. We had a nice chat. I was talking to him about this and he was like, it's funny that people talk about dead equity because every investor is dead equity. It's not like Mr. Investor comes along and gives me however much cash for 20% and then he's there like calling me every week helping.
Yeah.
Like he's just as likely to help as these other guys are because I've got a vested interest in your success because they own 20% of your business. So
interesting.
It's kind of bullshit.
Yeah, no, I get that.
But also you don't want, I think the most important thing is that investors, like I was having a conversation with someone the other day who is interested in investing and he was like, I want you to stay above a certain amount because I want you to be motivated in the business. So I can see, if there's 4 founders and you start with 25 and then you end up with 15 and then one guy leaves and then, you're like 5 years down the line and you own like 10 or 15%. It's like, that isn't much. Then you really do consider like, do I really care that much? No matter how good your intentions were.
Well, that's where if it's a passion or not comes into play as well, because you stick around because it gives you that feedback.
Yeah, for sure.
Interesting. It's super interesting, that space. It's super interesting as well because obviously, as you said, you would rather have a small part of something than a large part of nothing, and that is always the case. Like if you're not getting bites at some point, you do have to just go, well, whoever's gonna be willing to help me get this off the ground, that'll be the direction to go in.
For sure, and I think if you can convince people who you think will turn the odds in your favor to take a big chunk of your business. That can only help, right? Because they're connected or they're super smart or they're great at branding or they know the founder of this guy who can introduce you to them or like whatever. So I think people do overestimate, when you're sold. The thing I'm always told is like equity for services is always for the people selling the equity, they're like, oh, they're going to work so much harder because they're getting equity in my business. That's what the people selling you the services say. But on the other side, the people who are giving you the services are like, okay, well, I'm not being paid and my team aren't being paid. Yeah. And this is in lieu of being paid work, which means that to begin with, yes, it's exciting, but eventually they're going to want their bonus or their whatever.
Slice it up.
And actually, that's what they care about more in the short term than like maybe having 1% of something that will exit in like 10 years. Yeah. So I think that's just something to be aware of.
It's interesting. Very interesting. Should we get onto the product? Because I'm super interested in actually how. So what was the whole thought process behind it? You're not necessarily from a design background. So did you let your product designer kind of take a lead, or did you have really the rough idea of exactly the kind of product you wanted to create? Because obviously you said you started with bamboo as your thing. How did we go to glass? How did we go to these kind of precious stones? What was the thought process of all of it?
So it was kind of a multi-step process, and again, Mother were involved in this. Yeah. So, product design is like 6 or 7 steps, and I forget what they are, but it's like the creative idea or the concept, then the feasibility, then the testing, then the materials, then like does it manufacture, then the functionality of once it's money. It's like so many different things. And all of that is part of product design. So I would say I was more involved in some parts of those than others. And the same with Mother. So Mother came up with the idea, it was the brand was a collaborative thing being based around the senses. But their idea to create like an object of desire, something that really like leaned into the world of perfume, stemmed from them, which was a fucking great idea. Yeah, genius. And then the idea of like, okay, how do we execute on that in a functional sense? I.e., like we have a lid lock mechanism which we have a patent for. How wide does the bottle have to be for the ball to be a reasonable size? Because there's got to be 2 threads, one for the lid, one for the cradle, yada yada yada. So it was a long process, and we're now on our 3rd manufacturer.
Really?
Yeah, like we didn't launch with we didn't really, we went to one, they weren't good enough, went to another. We were about to launch with them, and we were like, you know what, it's not up to scratch. We're going to change. Now we have a great partner, but it's a long process.
And what was the thoughts with the stone there in it, rolling it rather than the plastic? Like, is that more to have a personal connection with it? Because people like color and...
Which one's this one? Oh, rose quartz, nice. Okay, that's good, because the favorite is... Oh, this one doesn't sit on properly. Yeah, the favorite, the bestseller is rose quartz. Okay. It's a few things. One, it means that only something natural is touching your body. So the formulation is all natural. It means that you have nothing plastic whatsoever touching your skin. Like this just holds it in place, but it doesn't touch you. 2, it adds a splash of color. So you can choose between pink or blue or green, and soon, hopefully, citrine, which is like a kind of light yellow. 3, if you want it to be for kind of manifestation, then you can. So I use the green one because I know it's good for like grounding. It's called green aventurine. Kind of matches my jade. And I like feeling they're connected to natureness in the mornings. And I'll have that with the green scent because I like feeling like a plant, basically, in my smells. But, the rose quartz is for love and connection. The first thing really that happens when I show this to women who are our target market predominantly, even though the product is unisex, is they go, oh, it's rose quartz. I'll match that to my face roller or my gua sha. You know, my mum and my sister both have a rose quartz face roller. So for them, it's an easy decision. They buy the rose quartz one.
Interesting.
But it's also what's really nice about it is each one is unique.
Yeah.
So even if you and I were to buy a rose quartz one, each is naturally unique and is one of a kind because it has its own perfect cracks and imperfections in it. And so it's a nice story. If you're buying the last deodorant you'll ever buy, which Rollr is, then it's uniquely yours forever. And it's not uniquely yours because you feel the need to put your name lasered on the lid, which I always thought was a bit weird. Like, I don't need to stamp my authority on the products I own, you know? Instead, I can look at this ball and go, wow, I'm the only person that owns this exact one. No one else has those cracks and those colors.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. I love that, actually.
Yeah, it's nice. We actually need to lean into that more in our branding, in our marketing messaging.
It brings it authenticity, doesn't it?
Totally.
And it's like this whole thing of the personal brand and the personal connection. That's what it's about, because people then have their connection to an item.
Yeah, exactly. And especially if you do want it to manifest, or like you do believe that it can help you with certain, you know, mood boosting properties, then not only is it uniquely yours because it's physically one of a kind, but it means something to you emotionally. And that's important because we want people to have an emotional connection to the product. Yeah,
I get that. And then what about also the kind of scents? Like, obviously you said you had that chemistry kind of background and interest.
Yeah.
How did you go about creating a scent product and actually a deodorant, which I presume there's no other powder based supplier or company out there?
So there is now. There's one.
Who's copied you?
Well, I don't know if they copied us. There is one. We're very different to them. I mean, there's lots in other spaces. So like shower gel, I have been for 5 years. You know, you can buy home things, which is like a Barocca that you drop in and then spritz your house with great brands. Deodorant is really, really tricky because first of all, for it to be natural and work just by itself is like almost impossible. Natural deodorant has a bad name, and that's fair enough for the most part because most of them are crap. But for us, the development like funnel was like natural ingredients that actually work, that come as a powder, that will mix with water at home with just a shake, that will evenly distribute to create like a deodorant-esque something that people expect from a deodorant, which means that it feels like thick, it dries quickly, all that stuff. And at every single one of those funnels, you basically knock out like 90% of the options before. So it becomes about being very particular with the ingredients and then how they balance. So it's really tricky. But the real innovation of the product, other than the kind of brand positioning, is, I'm trying to use a bit in my bag for a while, so they're a bit crumpled. Sorry, so this is 2 months of deodorant.
Oh, wow, okay.
When it's 90% less packaging than any other brand. And it's paper recyclable, so it's zero waste. So all you do is you unscrew the cradle. I'm going to put my hands down here. Unscrew the cradle. You rip the top off, you pour the powder in, you add water, you put the parts back together, you put the lid on, creates an airlock so it can't leak. So when you're traveling, if you're shaking, it can't leak. That's important because some of our customers put their deodorant, their Rollr in their Chanel bags. Give it a quick shake, leave it for like 20 minutes to equalize, and then you're good to go. So
does it separate if it sits there long enough? Do you have to shake it every time?
No. That's like legally, for it to be sold, it has to create a uniform solution that doesn't separate. So that's all about some ingredients sit in solution, so dissolved, and some in suspension, so floating. And to find the balance of those so that it's like equally distributed is really tricky.
How long did it take to develop these scents?
It took from start to finish, from like the brand that I made at home and my crystal prototypes to this was 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it was long.
How long did you think How long did you think it was going to take?
Not that long. Our first chemist said usually it takes them between 3 and 6 months to develop a new product.
Yeah.
And we worked with them for 2 years before we moved on to a different chemist.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because they were unable to deliver?
Because they just weren't making enough progress.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's been a labor of love. And then adding the scent in and all that jazz is really it's complicated.
Okay. Yeah.
But also now the way we manufacture is we put the powders in, we use a ribbon blender. which is like it's like a big blender for powder. But even that is so much less energy than using like water and heat flows and like specific kind of like, you know, liquid mixers.
Okay.
But you know, the idea that this is 2 months of deodorant and we send 3 of those in a very thin envelope means that the impact in the packaging use is so much less. And that's really the thing behind Rollr is like, if you want to be as sustainable as possible with your deodorant, don't wear deodorant. Don't use anything. Like people won't thank you for it, but that's the best way to be as sustainable as possible. For us, it's like, okay, how do we create something that people are proud to own and then want to refill? Because the refills are where the impact is made.
What, in this whole process now, what was the moment where you thought, oh Christ, this actually is coming, this is working. I can go back to mum and dad and I can say, I told you. Like, this is it. I mean, you might not be there yet, but like, has there been a part where something you went in your mind, but actually this could work. I can actually get this as a product. I can sell this.
Yeah, I think partnering with Broody was like the first big milestone because they have a great track record and they put a lot of resource into their working with their partners. So for them to put that trust in me was important. I think selling the biggest moment so far has been seeing the first one be sold. We launched actually first in store rather than online, just because of the logistics of all sort of weird things. Only a week in advance. In a shop called John Bell in Croydon, which is in Marylebone, not Croydon. Because you're like, why would you be in Croydon? It's a random place to sell like a fancy deodorant. And I stood there and waited for someone to buy it. And I watched this guy buy it. And it's a culmination of like 4 years work, just watching this one guy go and pick it up and go to the till and do it. And that was like, I actually had to leave the shop because I almost burst out in crying.
Really?
Like, honestly.
What were you feeling?
Even thinking about it makes you feel emotional.
Let's talk about it. I want to hear this.
Okay. So imagine that you've tried to do something for 4 years. It gets, you know, you try your best, you keep getting pushed, like shot down. You feel like you're swimming directly against the tide for so long. You believe in yourself, but everyone else slowly stops believing in you. You know, like I even had my girlfriend's uncle, who's an amazing businessman, a guy who's really nice and I really respect, come up to me like a year ago and be like, Milo, maybe, you know, like at some stage you got to cut your losses. And I was like, thanks, I appreciate it, but now is not the time. So like all of that, like the you know, my family went on holiday. I couldn't go because I was, you know, trying to launch a business. That's fine. But just like I was by myself, like running around London like crazy. You know, our shipment gets stuck after 4 years, our shipment gets stuck in customs. Then they say it's lost. Then they go, it's not lost. And then they go, oh, it is, but you can claim insurance. It's like all this, it's like, what? Like going to fulfillment centers, checking everything, hand fulfilling everything myself. Like, I didn't sleep properly for like the month before we like, not even hours wise, just I was so wired the whole time. You know, so that all of this like build up, this fucking crazy crescendo, just to stand in a shop and watch some guy go boop and actually like put his card on and go out. It was just like so crazy to think that this thing that I created after all that time, someone values enough to actually buy with their money and walk out of the shop with. And I actually watched him walk down the street because I was like, please. I was like, what if he turns around and asks for a refund? You know, like I was kind of trying to watch him through the like shampoo aisle, like not trying to look too creepy. You know, like, is he buying it? Is he buying it? Is he got it? You know, like, has he changed his mind in the last minute? So even thinking about it now is making me emotional because it was just such a crazy moment. But I didn't let it out because it would have been. You know, people don't want to buy deodorant from someone who's got wet pits or very wet eyes, I think. So
thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that because
no worries.
That kind of story and that kind of understanding your position is exactly why I do this podcast, because my interest is 100% in you. Obviously, I'm interested in the product and the company, but I'm interested in the journey you go on as well and everything you experience. And I think that is so invaluable to listeners as well, to understand that, you know, we can see the pretty beautiful end product after you spent 4 years developing it, but what we don't know is the suffering. What we don't know is the pain you've gone through, the endless rejections, the sitting wondering, going, fuck, what can I do to actually convince people?
Yeah.
I feel that now. I'm very much feeling that pace right now with it. And it's one of those things you said, just don't give up. Like perseverance.
Yeah, it's just, oh man, it's so crazy. Like I really personally hit like a low that I never thought I would reach. Like in retrospect, I look back and I'm like, I don't ever want to get to that stage, like mentally again, to be honest. Like I wasn't in a good place. Like I realized that I had been, this is getting quite deep now.
No, this is what this is about.
Okay, cool.
We have a whole section at the end, which is all personal mindset questions. So please feel free to take it here. I'm ready for it.
Okay, cool. So, because it was so much rejection and it was just like, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. I realized I went on, my girlfriend's sister got married to an Indian bloke 2 years ago. So we're invited to the wedding in India. And I was like, you know what? I deserve to go. I haven't been on a proper holiday in ages. I haven't not worked. I'm going to go. I'm not going to bring my laptop. I'm not going to work. I'm just going to ask my business partners if anything important happens. It's not going to because it's Christmas for everyone else, so they're all doing other stuff. But if something happens, please pick up the slack. I'm just going to go. And I realized basically I'd become numb, like truly numb. And I thought that I had only become numb to the downs, to the lows, but I had become numb to the highs too.
Wow.
So I remember the first week being there with my girlfriend and her family and like all their family friends who like also just because we're at uni together, like some of my best friends in the world, and being at this incredible place and like these incredible experiences. And like, I remember thinking that my face was smiling, but I wasn't feeling anything.
Wow.
It's a really weird feeling to experience. Like it's really horrible, to be honest. And that's when I realized it wasn't just that the coping mechanism of it was to get through the lows. It was just to get through everything. And it had blurred the lines between actually not being able to feel anything at all.
Wow.
So at that stage, I said to myself, I was like, okay, nothing is worth this. Like nothing. It doesn't, like nothing matters that much for you not to live life in the most simple of terms, I guess.
So what kind of boundaries did you put in place after that realization?
Well, it was just kind of like it was like I think it came at a good time. It was like it was like almost like a point where I would have snapped, right? Like either one way or the other. And I think it was kind of freeing to finally be like, you know what? If I keep doing this for a few more months and I'm not making headway, then I'm just going to stop. But that freedom and I think that confidence of actually like letting go and realizing that it doesn't matter that much actually was really important because no one wants to invest. This is what's so tricky. It's like, you know, at the height of the pain, you would try and court an investor for like 3 months for like a 5K ticket.
Yeah.
You know, and they would meet you loads and ask you loads of questions and they would dick you around and then they would say no. It's like $5,000.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a lot of money, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But now it's like our minimum ticket is 25K.
Yeah. And
like for whatever reason, sometimes that happens in like an hour-long conversation. It's either a yes or no. So, you know, the nervousness that you have when you're really trying to get someone in, like people can smell it on you, you know? They can smell that you're nervous. They can smell that you're kind of desperate. And no one wants to give their money to someone who's desperate. And it's really hard because how do you get confidence unless people believe in you? But unless you are confident, people won't believe in you. So
do you think you had to build up this persona, which maybe you didn't? Did you have like to build up a persona which you didn't have naturally before starting a business? Like, did you feel like your character changed a little bit because you're like, right, I'm an entrepreneur, I've got a business, I've now got to act and be like one and deliver? Or do you think that what happened was you chased that kind of investment or chased that approval, chased that thing, and it kind of just took you slightly off what you were before and you've just come back?
I think I've always been determined. I think no one was going to stop this. I think with Rollr, because it took so long to launch, I think had it not launched, everyone would have just thought, what the fuck has he been doing for 4 years?
Yeah.
You know, he probably has just been sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah.
And no matter what I would have said to anyone, no one would have realized how close I was.
Yeah.
And I think more importantly than any of that, actually, is that I would have never forgiven myself to not get it to market just to see what people think. So the determination, like resilience, like I went to a thing with a load of amazing founders, and I think when they said they were asked to describe themselves with 3 nice things, everyone basically said resilience. So I've learned a shitload of resilience. And now it makes no's much easier. And a friend of mine introduced me to Taoism. Do you know what Taoism is?
I've heard of it.
So it's kind of like go with the flow, don't go against the tide, all this stuff. But there's a parable that this guy told me, which when I first heard, I was like, well, okay, but I really, really believe in this now. If a retailer says no that I really wanted, or an investor says no, or if there's a setback, like you get caught up in it. But so there's this farmer, and one day he wakes up and his horse is gone, and his neighbor comes back to him and he goes, "Oh God, your horse has run away. That's a bit shit, isn't it?" And he goes, "Maybe." And then the next day the horse comes back, and he comes back with 2 horses, and the neighbor comes back and goes, "Oh, you got 2 new horses for free. They were wild and now they're yours. That's incredible." And he goes, "Oh, maybe." And then the next day, the sons go out riding, and one of the sons falls off one of the new horses, and the neighbor comes and goes, "Oh God, your son broke his leg. That's terrible." And he goes, "Maybe." Then the next day, the army comes around and they conscript everybody to the army, but not the son that's got his broken leg because he can't walk. And the guy goes, "Oh, thank God your one son can stay at home." And he goes, "Maybe." And the lesson is like, you know, there are so many investors who at the time I really wanted to invest. Like if everyone who'd said they were going to invest in Rollr invested, we would have raised 5 times what we said. I mean, like people look you in the eye, shake your hand and go, "I'm going to invest." Like big people that like, you know, people watching this would, people would know. And yeah, then it doesn't come through and you feel crushed. But now I look back and I'm like, thank God those people weren't involved. Thank God. Because like, you know, they own a part of my thing. That means that I legally and metaphorically and ethically answer to them in a certain way. But those aren't the kind of people I want involved. So
that's so interesting, and it's bang on right, because you know, I think when you are in this pre-element and you're imagining it in your head, you're thinking, you know, I want this person to help me, I want this person to help me, but actually you never know who's going to be right for you, what's going to be right for you, and also when the timing's right for you. And like letting go of this whole control, letting go of this whole idea, like you want it to work and everything, but if you let go of it in so many ways, whatever comes to you is a benefit and a bonus, and like you don't get affected as much. Like if you take away the control you're trying to have on it, it's freeing, isn't it?
It's so freeing. I mean, even so, there was a fund that said they're going to give us 200 grand, did all the due diligence, and then a week before the money was supposed to arrive in our bank, they said, "Oh no, we decided not to." And we said, "Why?" They're like, "Oh, we're just not doing consumer at the moment." It's like, okay.
Wow.
But those guys, one, I've heard from other people since, they're terrible to work with.
Okay.
And 2, if we had taken that money then, we probably would have launched with the second manufacturer, which might have killed the business because the quality wasn't good enough.
Yeah, okay.
So again, at the time, it's like, you know, crush.
Yeah. There's so many pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah, with retrospect, I'm so glad that they didn't. Like, for so many reasons, I'm so glad. So yeah, you're totally right.
I was going to ask you what your biggest learning curve is, but I think that probably is the answer, what you said. Like, going with the flow of it and just not overreacting to the highs and the lows.
I think, and when it comes to investment, creating FOMO is a big one. So I always used to think that investors would be like, you know, if you and me both have like 100 mil and we're like mates and we invest, I always kind of thought that it would be like, oh, well, I found this like diamond in the rough that I invested in and now it's worth 10 times as much that no one else found, kind of thing. The truth is the opposite. The truth is that like people blindly follow in people that they know and that they trust. You know, like I know people that have had 50k tickets put in with them and they've never even spoken to that person before just because someone else who's invested vouchers for them. You know? So creating a sense of urgency and FOMO about like, this is when it starts, this is when it ends, the round, you're in or you're out. These people are already in, like now's your chance, now or never. Like I did that quite poorly, I think.
Yeah.
And I would say that if you're raising, that is something that needs a good amount of consideration.
I feel like you need to have a lot of personal growth to really come in here and actually do this in the right mindset, don't you? Like when you come from doing it yourself with no one advising you, giving that experience and never going through that, as you said, you look back now and you probably would approach this whole process in a whole different way if you start another company.
Yeah. I think it's getting to know the investors is difficult, but once you're kind of in, you are kind of in. Now that we're not raising, I can reach out to 20 like probably quite prominent investors just to chat to them.
Yeah,
because they know I'm not trying to get anything from them.
Yeah.
But they'll also take my call and look at my deck.
Yeah,
when they wouldn't have
had interest before.
Yeah,
of course, I understand that.
So
understand that. Okay,
try and get in where you can as well.
Yeah, I like that. What's one thing about being a founder that you wish more people understood?
Oh God, it's so lonely.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay, talk to me.
I think if I was to do it again, I think starting with a co-founder would be the best advice I would give, because no one understands. Like, you do everything, you're good at some stuff, you're shit at some stuff. The stuff you're shit at takes longer and more energy, and then you do it badly. So you don't answer to anyone. So all of the responsibility to organize and do things in the right order and to do things at all is all on you. And from the outside, it can look like you're doing nothing at all. And to be totally honest, some people wish you success and some people don't.
That's when you see your true friends.
Yeah. Like I was in America 2 weeks ago, and there are plenty of things that I don't like about America. What I do like about America is that they really love success. Like they want to see people, if my friend at school went and made like 100 mil on something, everyone would be happy for them. Whereas here it's a bit like, oh, well, he got lucky, didn't he? Or his dad was,
jealousy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I understand. Okay. I like that. I really love that. Fear of failure. Did that ever come into mind where you're doing this and you're more, or do anything where you're more scared of what failure would look like and it stopped you, or it was going to stop you?
But it stopped me from
trying to do something, trying to achieve something.
Yeah, I mean, fear of failure is, I think everyone has fear of failure, right? Nobody wants to fail. I think my thinking around it is that, we're both young. If you try and you try your best and you fail, the worst that happens is that you learn a lot. A lot of my friends are way better at what they do than I will ever be at anything near them, like lawyers. My girlfriend's a doctor. It's like what she does really matters, and she's way more knowledgeable at doctoring than I will ever be at anything. But I would say compared to most people that just go and work for someone else, I've learned so much about so much that you only really learn by doing. And so the trade-off between that and being scared of failure, it's like, okay, well, if I have to fail to learn all that, then that's fine. So yeah,
I love that.
No one wants to fail, but everyone fails at some stage, right?
How important is it to surround yourself with like good people and the right people?
Yeah, super important. I think surrounding yourself with people that really believe in you is the most important. Like there are a couple of people who have had and still have never had any skin in the game for Rollr in terms of like investment or shares or anything. And when I was like close to throwing in the towel, I spoke to them both, and they're both, one of them was the Grazia beauty editor and the other one is the GM at Garnier.
Okay.
So like incredible women who I really look up to. And both of them are like, don't give up. Like you're so close. What you're doing is like not worth giving up on. Don't do it. Keep going, please. And honestly, if it wasn't for them, I don't know if I would have kept going.
Wow.
So yeah, surround yourself with people you respect and who believe in you.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you can have people who are good at introductions or accounting and stuff, that's also helpful.
How many people have you got employed with you? It's not still one man band. You got people.
I'm the only full-time employee.
Okay.
And then we work with 7 people on a consultant, like part-time.
Okay.
Marketers will call it fractional basis. Yeah.
So how do you, as a business founder, how do you kind of deal with leadership? Like, what does leadership mean to you? How do you look to give people the space to support you in the best way possible and allow them to actually kind of grow into feeling free to make suggestions and not feel they can hold things back out of fear of being told off or said that they're not thinking straight?
Yeah. Well, I'm still learning, how to be a good boss or leader, I guess. Like, I've got a lot to learn. I think generally just being open. I always say to someone, I want to hear your ideas. I want you to be involved. If you want to, if you want to, work outside of the kind of the box that you're generally put in, i.e. if you've got ideas for something in marketing when you're doing logistics or the other way around, tell me about it. Like, let's discuss. There's no bad ideas really. So I try and as hard as possible to, no fear. I don't want anyone to have fear, but at the same time, they need to do what they say they're going to do.
Fair.
And I think I've worked with so many bad people.
Okay.
That's really hard. Like, in the last 6 months, working with good people has been by far the hardest thing to do. And when I speak to anyone who's in my position or further ahead, it's basically the same, which is like, people are good at selling themselves. Most of them aren't good at doing what they say they're going to do. Most people don't care. No one cares as much as you do about your business.
Yeah.
But to most people, the work you're paying them to do is just a means to an end. So trying to work with people who see what they do as art, if possible. Like, we just hired.
That's a great approach.
Yeah, like our product photographer. She's called Vega. Anyone needs product photography, Veega. The reason why I'm plugging her is because she is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
she's an artist. Like, we paid a certain amount for a certain amount of photos, and then she was like, "Milo, do you mind if I spend another day, like a whole second day, doing some more shots for you, because I've got so many good ideas. I've got more ideas that I want to explore." And I was like, "Yeah, can we have them?" She was like, "Oh yeah, I just want to add them, see if I can, because they're cool for my portfolio." I was like, "Yeah, of course."
Epic.
Like, she's really, really cares about what she delivers at the end of the day. And that's what I want.
Yeah.
Someone who really cares.
Passionate.
Not someone that does the job when it's like, yeah, done. Next.
Yeah. I get that. Imposter syndrome. Have you ever had that?
Yeah.
And I imagine in the big investor meetings, it sometimes comes up. But talk to me about that. How have you dealt with that? What was the experiences you've had with it?
I mean, even sitting here, man, like, we've got 1, 2, 3 cameras, 2 lights, your little logo, we've got proper mics and everything. Like, this is, I went to go, James Watt, the Brewdog guy.
Yeah.
I went to pitch for him at his like 34th floor, like, mega apartment complex right on the Thames. Yeah. That was crazy. That was like this, but on steroids. With a team of like 7 people with like sound and all that stuff. And then I was sitting down, and then he just grilled me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's fine. Like, I think it'd be hard for me to be asked a question I haven't been asked before now.
Yeah.
But man, imposter syndrome all the time.
Yeah.
Like, being asked to come on a podcast. Like, I went to New York because I was asked to be on a panel discussion, and I was sitting next to these like founders of brands who are like 20 years ahead of us, who are incredible brands. And I was just sitting there listening to them speak, and I was like getting so nervous, because there's loads of people in the room, and there's like, they're so eloquent, and like they've achieved so much, and it's like real systems change. And I was sitting there like, what the fuck am I going to say next to these guys? It's crazy. So a lot. I think everyone does. Do you feel imposter syndrome?
All the time.
Yeah?
All the time.
Yeah.
I think if you push yourself to grow and you put yourself at the edge of your limit of comfort, you'll always feel it. And I think it's important to feel it because it means that you will grow. Like, if you don't feel imposter syndrome, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. If you're in your comfort zone, you're not pushing hard enough.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. And you do kind of fill the boots that you make as well. Like, it feels wrong, but then sometimes you do feel like you're in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. Exactly. Fulfillment.
Yeah.
We talked about everything about you realizing, happiness is just as important to making a business work. Like, what does fulfillment mean to you, not just as a founder, but as a person?
I think helping the people you love when you can,
Mm.
that's the most important thing.
Mm.
And using the skills that you have for general good.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that I wanted to leave the world a net better place than if I hadn't been born.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's always kind of been in my head. And I'm sure a lot of people who are very bad people say the same and twist their views into thinking that they're doing good things. So it's very hard to quantify that.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to sense check yourself a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm trying to do with Rollr.
Yeah, no, well, you are. So,
well, we'll see.
Even the start of this, the whole conversation with it, you're pushing what sustainability is and actually changing it. You've already made that impact.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there is a product in the market which does that now.
That's true. I think when it comes down to it, I want to give people good experiences.
Yeah, okay.
Life is to be experienced.
Yeah.
And it's like, whether that means you come round to my house and we have like a nice dinner that my girlfriend and I cook, or go and have listen to some great music.
Yeah.
Or like Rollr is like trying to give you a beautiful experience when you least expect it.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to be remembered for, I guess, if I could choose.
Yeah, I love that. How important is it to be authentic to you and to yourself? I listened to a snippet of a podcast you did, and I think you're talking about your nails, because obviously you got your nails painted, and you had investors they'd seen your nails painted before, then you went to see them and they weren't painted again.
That's exactly right.
Talk about authenticity and talk about this.
So I think authenticity is the most important thing for a young founder. Mm-hmm. I'm going to try and remember what I said on that podcast, because I definitely said it more eloquently than I'll be able to say it now. Basically, so the story is two incredible guys that I really look up to invested in Rollr. When people invest in an early stage business, they're really investing in you, not the business.
Of course, yeah.
They have to believe in the business.
Yeah.
But especially if you're a first-time founder, they're backing you, really. So I saw them the other day at an investment thing, and they were like, "Oh, Milo," and I was like, "Oh, hey, James, how you doing?" And he goes, "Milo, where are your nails? Why haven't you painted your nails?" And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Why the fuck do you think I invested in the first place? Like, where are your nails done?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" And there's another guy there as well. He said the same thing, and that was really cool, because for so long I tried to. And this definitely slowed down probably the investment process. I tried to conform to what I thought people would want from me. And the investment the average investor profile is pretty similar. It's like old, rich, white dude. And I am a white dude, so
just
I'm not
old.
I'm not rich. So I'm not trying to be disparaging of that group, but there are, if you have all of those things, I would say generally, you over-index higher on certain things too. And I'd never, being at school, I never really conformed to, I hated wearing a uniform. I'd never wear a tie now unless I'm at a wedding. I hate, only if I had to, I don't want to, I feel like I'm being strangled, So I tried to be very businessy and business Milo and blah, 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 blah. But actually being yourself, being weird and wonderful, all it does is speed up the process of people liking you and not liking you. But that's what you need, because if you're in a room with 10 people, and let's say you have your nails done, and one guy gets his nails done, you're going to make a connection with that person more deeply and more quickly, because you've put yourself out there and you've been in a way vulnerable than you would had you not been. And in the same way, even if the 9 of the other people in the room look at you and go, "Oh, I'm not investing in a guy that gets his nails done," that's fine. They would have come to that decision anyway. You're just speeding them up.
Yeah.
So you're just helping speed up the process. So definitely be authentic, be vulnerable, be yourself.
That's great advice.
Yeah. If 9 people say no, they would have said no anyway. You'll find the one person that you really connect with, and that's who will back you, and that's who you want to back you.
It's fantastic. I was back at Radley the other day doing a futures program kind of chat with some of the teachers, trying to help them improve their program. And what's clearly quite obvious at the moment is a lot of 16, 17, 18-year-old boys who are there fearful of their career, going, there's so much competition out there. AI is making everybody look very, very skilled and allowing people to do a lot more work. and they're leaving school and universities going, crap, I'm not going to get a job. It's going to be much harder for me to do that. What's your advice for young people, boys and girls out there who are that age and thinking about what they want to do? Like, what advice would you give them to moving forward?
I think don't have, don't be paralyzed by fear. Don't do nothing. Like, it's very easy to go, I don't know what I want to do, so I'm just not going to do anything. It's like, just go and try stuff. You know, you might like it, you might not. If you don't, that's on the no list.
Yeah.
This whole AI thing, you know, I think it's only going to affect a small amount of people in the short run. I think if you're creating something, you know, maybe be physical, maybe, you know, in a way, I kind of hope that it means that people go back to like carpentry.
Yeah, the artisan stuff.
Yeah, because AI can't do that. And it's like real artistry, you know? So in a way, that's kind of what I hope it does. But I think just go out and try. And ask people, if you're connected to someone who is really, really good at what they do or really high up, you'd be surprised how much people like being asked for a favor. If you just go to them and say, hey, could I please just borrow you for an hour? Can I buy you lunch for an hour? The chances are, if they've been successful in their life and maybe they're nearing the end of their career, they would love to come and chat to someone new that's interested in them.
Yeah, great advice. Okay, final 3 questions. How important is it to follow a passion and an interest as an entrepreneur?
I think you have to. Like, you have to be mad to want to do your own thing. So if you don't do it for a reason that you care about, then, well, one, you won't really care. So it's just like any other job, in which case you may as well just skip the pain and be paid by someone else. But also, yeah, it's fun. You want to, you know, when people say, oh, I don't work, I just get paid to do what I love. I don't think that's ever the case for an entrepreneur, because like there's so much to do and you're always on, and you always have to do stuff that you don't like, because like, unless you instantly have 100 employees, this is not the way it works. But if you're doing something that you care about, that you believe in, then it's worth it. And then from a more holistic perspective, you do care about what you do and you do enjoy all of it, even if some of the micro bits, like for me, accounting, like, ugh, you know, it's super important. I understand it, but I don't want to do it.
I understand.
Yeah.
What does success mean to you as a person, not just as a founder?
Ooh. I think I would like to try and leave the world a better place than I found it, which is really, really hard to quantify. So, you know, that could be anything from just like being kind to the people you love, like I said, or, you know, the ultimate success for Rollr would be proving that mixing with water at home is part of an upgraded experience. Because if we can do that, more people will buy it. And eventually the bigger companies will have to do that to maintain their market share. And then the impact of them changing to that system is like 1,000x compared to just what we could do. So that's what I would like to try and do. I think success for me is, making people happy, like selling them something and then delivering on that promise and hopefully exceeding their expectations.
Fantastic. Last question. What's one lesson you'd like to teach your future children about life and happiness?
Meditation and Taoism.
Talk to me about the meditation. Let's go into that. How important is that into your daily life?
It comes in waves of how much I do it, but it's super important, because from everything to like knowing what to focus on to being reactive, if you have a little bit of extra space in your mind, then your emotions are taken out of it. And it means that you can just be more balanced and think more from someone else's perspective, or how to get the best out of people. So I think it makes you more present in your general life, but in terms from a business perspective, it also grounds you in a way that in the long run is really important. So like half an hour a day could be half an hour that I'm doing emails, but actually I think I reply to those emails better. Like the net benefit of having half an hour less time to do emails is more impactful, because I'll be able to reply to them better by meditating and being like really thoughtful about how I do it. So I would say for anyone who is mad enough to try and do this, doing something like meditation, for me anyway, like meditation kind of changed my life.
Okay.
So in particular, it's applicable to me, but in general, I think I haven't met anyone that hasn't properly had a go at meditation and hasn't said they love it.
Brilliant. Good place to end. Milo, thank you so much for coming on the Valley of Outlaws podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a very, very, very interesting episode, because actually hearing your story, but I think the part where we really got into hearing the struggle and the pain you had to go through to actually get this to a point of selling is going to really connect with a lot of people out there who are in similar things, and it's going to show that you shouldn't give up. So many people give up just before they're about to make it and don't realize. And the perseverance and the strength to carry on and the character to carry on is the key to success in many ways. So thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. It's been cathartic to chat to you about it.
Cheers. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to the Valley of Outlaws podcast. If you like what you heard, please subscribe and follow us on Spotify and YouTube.